Today we will learn about block 11 of class 8, that is probability. I just wanted to ask you one thing. Have you ever seen how two sports team or the two cricket teams choose who will bat first? Yes, of course. They used to choose with the help of a coin. They toss a coin and those who will win will choose for batting or bowling accordingly. Right. Is there any possibility that neither head will come nor tail will come? There are two outcomes now which comes out of tossing a coin. Is there any probability that head and tail nothing will come? No. So today we were going to discuss about the occurrence of event. Today we are going to discuss about what is the probability, what are the chance factors and all. First of all, there are the term event. What is event? Two or three outcomes which are more favorable outcomes. It's a group of the collection of two or three or more than we can say two or three, but favorable outcomes is called an event, right? Suppose if I'll give you an example of tossing a coin. Tossing a coin includes what? Tossing a coin includes if head will come or tail will come. So the outcomes over here, outcomes will be either head or tail, either head or tail. This is an event to get an head, right? Occurring of head in a tossing of a coin and occurring of tail in a tossing of a coin. This is called an event, right? If we'll measure how likely this event to be happen, if we'll measure how likely this event to be happen, that measurement is called the probability. Probability means what? Head. There are two outcomes. And there are chances. So it's 50% chance or half chance so that we can get head, or there are half chances that we can get tail. There is no chance that we will get neither head nor tail. So this is the probability of getting a head while tossing a coin, and this is the probability of getting the tail while tossing a coin. More we can take more examples on this. If I'll roll a die, outcomes will be what? If I roll a die, outcomes will be what? 1 may come, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This is the outcomes. So the group of outcomes is here. If I'll say what is the probability to get an even number? Probability to get an even number. So out of these outcomes, how many outcomes are favorable to this event? Favorable to this event. 2, 4, 6. So total 3 outcomes. Total 3 outcomes are there which are favoring to this event, that is getting an even number. Event is, as I told you, the collection of more than two or 3 outcomes to get it. Now total number of outcomes is here. Probability, the theoretical probability. Theoretical probability is what? This theoretical probability is number of outcomes favorable to event divided by total number of outcomes. So if I'll talk about this event, that getting an even number, so the outcomes which are in favor are 3 and the total number of outcomes are 6. So the probability is 3 by 6 or 1 by 2. There are half chances that even number will appear when we will toss will throw a die. Is that clear? Now have a look over here. Chancing of getting a 3. If I'll say chance of getting a 3, how are we going to work? How many times you can see in this outcome 3 is appearing? 3 is here 1 time only. So favorable event is equals to 1 time only. Is 1 time. The probability will be what? The probability will be number of outcomes favor to that event, that is 1, and total number of outcome is 6. So chances of getting 3 on a die while rolling it is 1 by 6. This is called theoretical probability. We will talk about some events today. Like some events are equally likely to happen, some are impossible events, some are certain events, some are likely, some are unlikely. What are these terms mean? If suppose, I'll give you an example. Sun rises from east. What are the chances of this event to happen? How many, like you say, what are the chances the sun rises from east? What are the chances? This is for sure sun will going to rise from east only, right? So this is certain event. Certain events has probability 1. Certain events has probability 1 is surely going to happen. Certain events are the events which are surely going to happen, are called certain events. Probability 1. If I'll ask you the same example, if I'll take, what are the chances the sun rises from the west? Is there any chance when sun rises from the west? No. So it is an impossible event. Impossible event is 0. The probability of impossible event that never can happen will be 0. What does that indicate? This indicates our probability lies between 0 and 1. The minimum probability can be 0 for the impossible events and the maximum one will be 1 for the certain events. So probability of any event will lies between 0 and 1. It can be equal to 0. This is equals to single. Greater than and equal to 0. Equal to 0 for impossible events and greater than for likely events, right? We can say. And this is for certain events. So probability lies between 0 and 1. Always we can represent the probability in fractions or we can represent the probability in decimal sometime also, right? Now, chances of getting an hat, we have already discussed. Chancing of getting 3 out of the 6 events which we have discussed. If there were in a bag, there are 3 blue balls and 4 red balls. If 3 blue balls and 4 red balls were there, instead of red, I am using this. 1, 2, 3 and 4. See, 3 blue balls and 4 red balls. What is the probability to get a red ball? If you will pick out one ball from that bag, what is the probability to get a red ball out of it? So probability, according to the theoretical probability formula, it is number of outcomes favorable to the event. Our event is to get a red ball. So how many outcomes are favoring this event? 3. Number of outcomes which are favorable is 3. Total number of outcomes are 7. So the probability of getting a red ball out of that bag will be 3 by 7. Is that clear? Now, we will talk about likely events. Likely events are the events which are, there are more than 50% chances to happen. Suppose if I ask you one question, that is, what is the chances that you will have rain every day in monsoon? If it is a monsoon season going on, what are the chances that you will get, you will have rain every day? There are more than chances. There are more probability to have events like have rain in this monsoon season, right? So this is called the likely event, which are greater chances to happen. If I talk about equally likely, means there are 50-50 chances. 50-50 chances. In the example of head and tail, we will say head has 50% chance and tail has 50% chance. If I'll ask about this event, a number of getting even numbers on the die. Even numbers have 50% chance and odd number also has 50% chance. So when the probability is equal for both the events, that is called equally likely. Is that clear? Unlikely events are the events which we can say are next to impossible, which may happen but there are very less chances to happen. For example, we can say you will get a trip to Switzerland if you will throw a die 10 times and each time you will get a 5. Are you getting my point? You will get a trip to Switzerland if you will throw a die and each time you will getting a 5. We need 5 10 times simultaneously, right? Together on the spot without breaking the chain. So it may happen, there are chances, but the chances are very few. So those probability are called unlikely. Unlikely because they are next to 0. As I told you, the probability lies between 0 and 1. Probability lies between 0 and 1. So the likely events are near to the 1, which are more probable to we can say happen, and unlikely events are next to 0, like which are very few chances, like they may happen or may not. Most of the chances are they will never going to happen, right? If I'll give you one example, you have to tell me now, is there any chance that whole class will be absent on a single day, the same day? Is there any chance that you will go and you'll come to know that all of the class, like complete class is absent on the same day? Not possible, right? So it is an impossible event. What are the chances that your math teacher will going to teach you math today? Obviously, this is a certain event to happen. Math teacher will going to teach you maths only. So this is a certain event which is surely going to happen. So according to our daily life, probability is we can say a branch of the mathematics which we use in our life very frequently, and we are not knowing it about, right? Whether we are forecasting our weather, whether we are seeing a match on the television, whether we are playing with our friends or something like that, right? Now one more term comes over here. What is the probability of flipping a coin and landing on heads? Flipping a coin and landing on hat. We know that getting a head has a probability 1 by 2. Head, right? While rolling a die and landing on 3, if we'll roll a die and the probability of rolling a die and getting a 3 is 1 out of 6, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total outcomes. We are talking about only 3, so 1 is in the favor, total are 6, so 1 by 6 is the probability of getting 3 out of rolling a die, right? Now, what is the probability of flipping a coin and landing on heads while rolling a die and landing on 3 simultaneously? If we talk about both of these events happening together, the probability of that event will be half multiply 1 by 6, that is 1 by 12. The probability both will happen at the same time simultaneously will be 1 by 12. Is that clear? Now, this is a table, and the term which we are going to discuss is experimental probability. What is experimental probability? The repeated trials of a particular experiment by ourselves is called the experimental probability. This is what we have learned theoretically, which is going to happen. This is we are going to use, but I'm going to tell you what is experimental probability. Suppose I'll give you a dice to roll, right? You roll it again and again. Your partner and you have rolled the dice 10 times each. You got 2 first time when you will roll. Next time again you rolled and you got 4. Then you got 6, 8, 9, 5, 1, 3 and 7. Sorry, I have to change this a little bit. Right, now, because it's not possible to get 7 when you will roll a dice, right? So, this is what we got. Now, if I'll take out the probability, what is the experimental probability? Number of trials and actual number of time. Right, actual number of time event will happen, right? The outcome will come. The actual number of times outcome appears. Suppose if I'll get the in experimental probability, if I want to ask what is the probability of getting a 5, over here, how many 5s we have? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, 7 out of 20. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 18 out of 18, right? So 7 out of 18 will be our probability of getting a 5. Probability of getting a 5. See, if we'll talk about the theoretical probability, what will be the answer? The probability, if we'll talk about theoretical probability, what is the probability of getting a 5? It will be 1 out of 6. It will be 1 out of 6 theoretically. If we're taking about the experimental probability over here, it is 7 out of 18, which based on our actual experiment which we have performed by ourselves, right? Experimental probability is based on our own experience, our own experiments, right? What is the difference between the theoretical and experimental probability then? See, the theoretical probability is the total number of outcomes and the number of outcomes which are favorable. It's a ratio of number of favorable outcome divided by total number of outcomes. But in experimental probability, it is actual number of how many times the actually that number will going to appear upon number of trials, how many times you have tried that experiment. This is called experimental probability. But I should tell you, experiment probability, if you will throw the dice 1,000 number of times or 10,000 number of times, as you increase the number of trials, if you will go on increasing the number of trials, experimental probability converts into the theoretical probability. If you will, like, the only condition is the number of trials should be extended to about thousands, 2,000s and 3,000s like this. Then only you will get the same results, almost the same results as a theoretical probability, right? Now there are a few questions which we need to discuss today. Probability of getting a 6. Probability of getting a 6. If I talk about experimental probability, what are the chances to get a 6? 1, 2. 2 out of 18. 2 out of 18. This is what? Experimental probability. Experimental probability. But if I talk about probability of getting 6 according to the theoretical probability, always whenever we are not stating, if you're talking about probability, you're talking about theoretical probability. Until unless it is given you, this is the experiment, these are the results of an experiment, and out of this you have to find the experimental probability. So until then you have to use, we are using term probability for the theoretical probability. Now probability of getting 6 will be what? 1 out of 6, because the favorable outcomes are 1 only and total outcomes are 6, so probability will be 1 by 6. An odd number, see, now I'll write the event. Total outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Event is getting an odd number. Odd number is this, this and this. Total how many numbers are favorable? How many outcomes are favorable? 3 outcomes. And total number of outcomes is 6. The probability will be 3 by 6. Probability will be 3 by 6. Now, getting 2 and 3 together. Like getting 2 and 3. And means what? Either 2 or 3, right? Then we can say the outcomes which are favorable are 2. 2 and 3. And total outcomes are 6. So it will be 1 by 3. The probability will be 1 by 3. Theoretical probability of choosing a green marble is 3 by 8. Now here probability is given to us. What is probability? Probability will be number of favorable outcomes. Number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. Right? Probability in this question is given to us, that is 3 by 8. I'll write the value of probability under the term probability. There are 40 marbles in the bag. The total number of outcomes are 40. We knew this. Total number of outcomes are 40. How many are of them green? So they were asking what is the probability, the favorable outcomes which are green. So we need to find it. Let it be x. Let it be x. that there are X outcomes which are favorable to the event, that is green. How are we going to find the value of X? 3 by 8 multiplied by 40, you'll get the value of X. 4 tens are 4 twos are 2 fives are 15. So how many green marbles are there? There are 15 green marbles in that out of 40. Probability was given this time. We have to find the number of favorable outcomes. Simple calculation with the help of linear equations you can solve this. Now, getting a red card. It's a deck of cards. Deck of cards which were used to play with our friends at home or with the siblings at home. Now, deck of cards is divided into 4 equal parts. Heart, diamond, page, and one more was like, I think this, or like this. Somehow, no, that was good. Yes, maybe, right? So divided into 4 equal parts. 13 cards of heart, 13 cards of diamond, 13 cards of spade, and 13 cards of this, right? Total there are 52 cards. Total there are 52 cards. Getting a red card out of this, these two are red and these two are black. What is the probability to get a red card? I pick one card out of deck of a card, and what is the probability to get a red card? What is the probability to get a red card? See, it can be of heart, it can be of diamond also. So 13 plus 13, 26. Total 26 red cards are available. So number of favorable outcome is 26, and total number of outcomes is 52. So probability will be 26 by 52 or half. The probability is half. There are equally likely chances to happen that the card which will draw out is red or black. Getting 4 of black. Getting 4 of black. The next event is getting 4 of black. 4 of black means what? Write the outcomes which are possible or favorable. So it can be of spade. 4 of spade, 1 card. And 4 of this thing, then we'll be having 2 club of 1 spade and 1 club, right? Now there are 2 4 are available. One is of this and one of this. Total 52 cards are there. The probability will be 1 by 26. The probability will be 1 by 26. Probability of 4 of black card. Getting an ace. Ace is A, which is noted by A. The probability of getting an ace. Probability of the event, that is getting an ace. How many aces are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 of each suit. 1 from each suit. So we have 4 aces and total 52 cards, right? This is the probability of getting an ace. You can further simplify it. 1 out of 30. Right? This is what we have talked about, the probability, the equally likely events, and the chances to happen, what is certain events, what is impossible events. That's all for today. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.